So now that Venom and The Last Dance is out, we've got no more Marvel movies coming out. Oh, wait, there is Kraven the Hunter in December. Now, why do I say, so now Venom 3 is out, we've got no more Marvel movies? Because everyone assumed that the way Venom and Last Dance was going to end was going to be adjacency to what happens in the Spider-Man franchise going forward. Did that happen? We don't know. We've broken down the ending of it and done a review. It's on the channel if you want to check them out. So now we've got to look forward and look to next year. And Marvel has 3 movies next year, which could be cool. We've got Captain America 4, aka the new Captain America. Thunderbolts, which we're predominantly going to be talking about in this video. Thunderbolts, Marvel's Thunderbolts is essentially the equivalent of the DC Suicide Squad. So this movie could make a lot of money, could be great fun. And then we've got the Fantastic Four movie, which has a high expectations. Because remember, Kevin Feige will not mess up the Marvel's first family. And also you're getting Galactus, that movie. It's predominantly got a kind of set up Doctor Doom storyline as well. And it's probably going to be the only movie that directly ties in to the multiversal saga. So we're going to talk about Marvel's Thunderbolt movie because it could potentially be great. And all these movies will be getting screen tested, so information will be getting out that could be confirmed to be real or not. So yo, what is good, YouTube? Warstu here. If you are new around here, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the Marvel, DC, Kaiju, Monsterverse, pop culture based content that I try to cover on a daily basis. You could subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on, and let me know, what are you most looking forward to in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? If you watch this video before Wednesday night, Agatha All-Along finale, the witchcraft side of stuff, which could lead to Wanda, the mother of the MCU, returning. Also, check us out on Instagram, at Warstu, to see the beautiful face behind the beautiful voice, and check us out on Twitter, WarstuG. So, we've already had the first trailer for the Thunderbolts. Today, we're going to go over some information that has come out about an apparent screen test that happened recently, and about how the movie is allegedly supposed to end and what's going to go down in the movie. So, let's do a little bit of a recap. So, this movie is coming out the 2nd of May, 2025. And it has an asterisk at the end, which apparently is going to make sense when this movie actually comes out. So, as we know, this movie will be reintroducing the likes of Yelena from the Black Widow movie, Ghost that appeared in one of the Ant-Man movies. But the most interesting thing is Sentry will be in this movie. So Sentry is essentially Marvel's version of Superman. And I think Marvel took a big L by not casting Henry Cavill as the Sentry. So if you want to go by the comic book definition, after investigating an experimental super soldier formula, the lower Robert Reynolds became the Sentry, if only in his mind, in constant battle with the dark side known as the Void. The Sentry has since been forgotten and dead. He has resurrected and vanished. Even if he is one of the Earth's greatest heroes, he's also been one of the greatest dangers. So I'm not saying he's stronger than Wanda or stronger than the likes of Captain Marvel, but everyone knows if Sentry is Marvel's version of Superman, he is one of the strongest beings in the MCU. But is Marvel going to essentially nerf Sentry from being OP? So going forward, I'm going to report information that comes from Twitter scoopers, completely different. I'm not going to say where it comes from, because then I just get my personal opinion. I'm just going to report the information as it is online. Regardless, doesn't matter where it comes from. It's just what is going around. So Thunderbolts will end with the Thunderbolts becoming the Dark Avengers. And this has been an ongoing rumor for such a long time. So they could either be the Dark Avengers because they have the likes of Ghost, they have the likes of Red Hulk allegedly, they have the likes of Sentry, so on, Zemo, so on and so forth. Or they could, in turn, be a variation of the New Avengers. Now, here's where it gets interesting and really bad. The Sentry is depowered, nerfed, and memory wiped at his own request. But there is an implication he might still remember who he is. And I find this interesting because, as we just explained, Sentry is essentially like the Superman of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But then there's other reports here saying the Thunderbolts will reportedly become the New Avengers at the end of the movie, having a very pinnacle role for the multiverse storyline going forward. So as we know, we've got Yelena, played by Florence Pugh, the new Black Widow. So a lot of the characters in this movie will essentially be very important. It's just a case of how they actually play out. Now, we do know that Bucky Barnes will be in the Thunderbolts. Apparently, he's the leader. He's also going to have a cameo role in Captain America New World Order. Interesting. So the rumor is Bucky Barnes chooses the dark side and becomes the leader of the Thunderbolts, which is interesting because, as we know, Bucky Barnes, he's been around for a very long time. He's also got that Wakandian arm, or has he? So that part is very interesting. And Kevin Feige, if you remember, he said we won't talk about the asterisks until the movie comes out. So I assume this is interchangeable. As we know, Thunderbolts was actually supposed to come out in 2024, but as Marvel has a release date they never actually stay to, I do question whether Doomsday and Spider-Man 4 and Secret Wars will actually make their mandates. But one thing that is interesting, and it's been contested by other online people, as I said, I'm not really going to say where information comes along. It says, currently the film tested poorly. It's not bad, it's just boring because it's 2.5 hours long. Now, to be honest, most superhero movies, in my opinion, should not be over 2 hours long unless you've got a very complicated story that needs a very long time to unpack. So the runtime of a movie it's neither here or there for me. Marvel wants to cut 20 minutes and the ghost scenes will probably go first. It's very interesting. Marvel's in a really weird position because, as we know, Captain America 4 is screen tested bad, and every single scooper online is finally confirming stuff that they previously said wasn't true. We know Captain America 4 is a literal mess and they've got to go through lots of different reshoots and testing just to make sure it could be a movie. But the heart of the movie for Captain America 4 could be good. And like I say, the Thunderbolts is essentially Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad. And the first Suicide Squad movie for DC, not James Gunn version, David Ayer version, although it wasn't actually his cut, did numbers, did over $800 million. We know James Gunn's Suicide Squad movie basically flopped from a financial point of view. Yeah, you can say critically it did well, but what I'm saying is both movies were received well, whether it be financially or critically, if you want to say it that way. So the Thunderbolts movie should do very great. I mean, the cast could be cool. Red Guardian, Bucky Barnes, who is a really loved character. Side note, he was in Gossip Girl. I still, like go watch Gossip Girl. Sebastian Stan was in Gossip Girl. That is so funny now when you look at the roles he plays. Ghost, Taskmaster, Red Guardian, so on and so forth. So this movie has great potential. Then you've got Superman Sentry in it. So the potential is huge for this movie. It's always Marvel's problem is execution. That's always the case. And then you put in the fact that allegedly a plot leak says Val is actually the leader of the OXE and resides in the Avengers Tower, which she required from Tony Stark. Move over Bob, as Bob, aka Sentry, is one of Val's projects. She wanted to make another super soldier. It turns out that Bob has a dark personality, the Void, which is the real problem. Val is clearly the big villain in this movie. The Void will be the kind of incredible, dangerous threat the Thunderbolts will have some issue with. Maybe you'll stop shooting your guns at Bob. Yeah, Bob, aka Sentry. That's a hilarious name, lads. It's going to be very interesting. Personally, I don't believe this test screen information because it's really hard. It's essentially the Marvel's version of Suicide Squad. How can this movie fail when you've got such cool characters? So hopefully the information going around is true about the screen testing, but hopefully it's not true about how well it was actually received. But as we know, we've covered lots of information on this channel. Some be right, some be wrong. More of it's right than wrong. But I'm just relaying information that is going around the internet. And as for Ghost appearing in this movie, allegedly Ghost actually has a huge role in this movie. Ghost has an important role in the film. You do get to learn what's currently going on in her life, which is interesting. So not how much is really known about the Thunderbolts movie thus far. So it'd be interesting when real plot leak information comes out. And of course, I will cover that kind of stuff. But I am looking forward to the Thunderbolts movie because David Ayer's Suicide Squad cut, although it was the Warner Bros. Studios cut, it was still decent. And James Gunn's Suicide Squad movie was decent to a certain extent, let's be honest. So if it's basically Marvel's version of Suicide Squad that potentially sets up the new Avengers or the Dark Avengers and our villains, so predominantly they could help Victor Don Doom, aka Dr. Doom, that could also be the case. So like always, guys, check us out on Instagram at Warstu. Check us out on Twitter, WarstuG. And I will catch you in another video, guys, very soon. Catch ya later.